I've been a construction manager, Daniel 31M. For 3 incredible years, I thought I was living a dream with Hazel, 28F. She was vibrant, intelligent, beautiful, and seemed to genuinely love me. We met through mutual friends, and our connection was immediate and deep. We talked about everything, supported each other through thick and thin, and built a life together that felt solid, secure, and full of promise. We moved into a nice apartment, adopted a dog, and spent our weekends exploring hiking trails or trying new restaurants. I genuinely believed she was my soulmate, the woman I would spend the rest of my life with. 6 months ago, I proposed. It was a private, intimate moment at our favorite spot overlooking the city skyline. She cried, she said yes, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. We immediately dove into wedding planning. We set a date for 6 months out, booked a beautiful venue, sent out invitations to over 200 guests, and meticulously planned every detail, from the flowers to the menu. It was going to be the perfect day. As the wedding day approached, I started noticing subtle changes in Hazel. She became more stressed, more secretive. She'd spend hours on her phone, often excusing herself to another room to take calls. She'd snap at me over minor things, then immediately apologize, blaming wedding jitters. Friends, when I mentioned it, would just nod knowingly. "Oh, that's just normal pre-wedding stress, Daniel. Every bride goes a little crazy." I wanted to believe them. I dismissed my gut feelings, telling myself it was just the pressure of planning such a big event. 3 days before the wedding, Hazel went out for her bachelorette party with her bridesmaids. She was supposed to be back by midnight. She didn't roll in until 3:00 a.m., looking disheveled, smelling strongly of alcohol, and avoiding eye contact. "Where have you been, Hazel?" I asked, my voice tight with concern and a rising sense of unease. She immediately became defensive. "What does it matter, Daniel? I was with my friends. It's my bachelorette party. You're being controlling." The argument escalated. In the heat of the moment, fueled by her defensiveness and my own insecurity, she blurted out, "Maybe we should just postpone the wedding. I don't know if I can do this." My heart sank. Postpone? 3 days before? I felt a wave of panic. I immediately backtracked, apologizing profusely, trying to smooth things over. No, Hazel, I'm sorry. I'm just stressed too. It's just jitters. We can do this. I love you." I was desperate to fix it, to get us back on track. She eventually calmed down, we hugged, and I thought we had weathered another pre-wedding storm. I was so wrong. The wedding day dawned bright and clear. Despite the argument just days before, I felt a surge of optimism. This was it. The day I married the woman I loved. I got ready with my best man, Ben, and my groomsmen, joking, laughing, feeling the excited buzz of anticipation. My family and friends filled the church, beaming. Everything seemed perfect. The ceremony began. The music swelled. The doors at the back of the church opened, and there she was. Hazel. Walking down the aisle, radiant in her white dress, a beautiful smile on her face. Our eyes met, and for a moment, the world faded away. I felt a wave of pure love and relief wash over me. This was really happening. She reached the altar, took my hands, and the officiant began the ceremony. Everything was going exactly as planned. And then, the doors at the back of the church burst open again. A man stood there, breathless, disheveled, his eyes fixed on Hazel. It was Ronald, Hazel's ex-boyfriend from college. He had been a minor point of contention in our relationship. She'd occasionally bring him up, but always insisted they were just old friends. In front of 200 stunned guests, Ronald took a deep breath and yelled, his voice echoing through the silent church. "Hazel! Don't do it. I love you. You can't marry him. Not after what we did the other night." The words hung in the air, thick with shock. What we did the other night? My mind reeled. 3 nights ago. The bachelorette party. The 3 a.m. return. The argument. It all clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Hazel, who had been holding my hands, dropped them as if I were on fire. Her face went from radiant to ghostly pale, then flushed crimson. Her eyes darted from Ronald to me, then to the shocked faces of our guests. "Ronald, no," she whispered, a desperate plea. But Ronald wasn't done. He started walking down the aisle, towards us. Hazel, you know it's true. You said you loved me. You said you only needed a few more days to break it off with him. We were together just 3 nights ago. Hazel looked at me, a flicker of pure panic in her eyes. She didn't deny it. She didn't say a word. She just dropped my hands completely, letting my bouquet fall to the floor. Then, in a blur of white lace, she turned, ran down the aisle, met Ronald halfway, and they both bolted out of the church, leaving the doors swinging open behind them. I stood there at the altar, alone. Holding nothing but the fallen bouquet. In front of 200 guests. The silence was deafening, broken only by gasps and murmurs. The humiliation was a physical punch to the gut. My fiancée had just run off with her ex-boyfriend, publicly, at our wedding. The next few minutes were a blur of chaos. My best man, Ben, was the first to react. He rushed to my side, his face a mask of furious concern. Daniel. Come on, man, let's get you out of here. He practically dragged me out of the church, past the stunned guests, into the waiting limo. My phone immediately started buzzing. Calls, texts, voicemails from concerned friends, furious family members, bewildered guests. My parents were distraught, trying to manage the fallout at the church. Hazel's parents were nowhere to be seen, presumably dealing with their runaway daughter. The wedding, which had been meticulously planned and cost a small fortune, was now a public, humiliating disaster. Later that evening, as I sat in a daze at my parents' house, Ben came over. He looked exhausted, but also, strangely determined. Dude, he said, I'm so sorry. But, you're not going to believe this. He pulled out his phone and showed me a video. It was his own recording, taken from the back of the church. Ronald bursting in. His declaration. Hazel dropping the bouquet. Her running away with him. The whole, raw, humiliating spectacle. Ben, bless his heart, had inadvertently captured the entire disaster. I posted it on TikTok, he mumbled, looking sheepish. I didn't think it would blow up like this. Blow up? I asked, my voice flat. Yeah, he said, showing me the screen. The video had millions of views. Millions. It was going viral, fast. The comments were a mix, some incredibly supportive, empathizing with my plight, calling Hazel every name under the sun. Others were harsh, mocking, turning my heartbreak into internet entertainment. I felt a fresh wave of humiliation, but then, something else. A strange, unexpected sense of validation. The world saw it. The world knew. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making it up. My heartbreak, my betrayal, was real, and it was public. And Hazel was now publicly exposed for her actions. The next few days were a blur of decisive action. There was no time to wallow. I had been publicly humiliated, but I wasn't going to be a victim. This was my chance to reclaim my life, and to make sure Hazel faced the full consequences of her actions. Wedding cancellation, I immediately called every single wedding vendor. The venue, the caterer, the florist, the band, the photographer. I canceled everything. I absorbed the losses on deposits, but the relief of cutting ties was worth every penny. Honeymoon cancellation, our honeymoon was booked for a month-long trip to Southeast Asia, all paid for. I canceled it. I managed to get a partial refund, which I put directly into my savings. Wedding gifts, we had already received dozens of wedding gifts, many of them expensive. I meticulously made a list of every gift and who sent it. Then, I returned every single one, along with a polite, but firm, note explaining that the wedding was off due to unforeseen circumstances. This was key. It ensured no one felt obligated to Hazel, and it subtly reinforced that she was the problem. Her car. This was my favorite part of the initial phase of revenge. Hazel drove a relatively new car that, despite her income, was still in my name. I had bought it for her as a gift a year ago, wanting to surprise her. The title was solely in my name. I calmly drove it to a dealership, traded it in for a significant down payment on a new truck for myself, and walked away. She had no car. She had no idea. As I navigated the fallout, I realized I was better off without Hazel. The viral video, while initially embarrassing, became a strange source of strength. Strangers from around the world were sending me messages of support, sharing their own stories of betrayal, validating my pain. It was a bizarre form of therapy. I started focusing intensely on my career, taking on more challenging projects at work. I hit the gym harder. I reconnected with friends who truly cared about me, not just the facade of my relationship. I felt liberated from the constant underlying stress of our relationship, the subtle anxieties I had ignored. Meanwhile, Hazel's life began to unravel spectacularly. The viral video, coupled with the news that she had run off with her ex, spread like wildfire through her professional and social circles. She worked in real estate, a field heavily reliant on reputation and trust. The negative publicity from the video was devastating. She lost clients, then her job. No one wanted to work with the runaway bride. I heard through mutual friends that Hazel was struggling immensely. She couldn't find new work. Her social circle, which had once been so vibrant, quickly evaporated. Her bridesmaids, who had been so excited for her, were now embarrassed and distant. She ended up having to move in with her sister, Emily, who, from what I heard, was not thrilled about the arrangement. Hazel became a cautionary tale, a living embodiment of betrayal and public humiliation. 2 months after the wedding disaster, I was at my house, my new house, post-car trade-in, enjoying a quiet evening. The doorbell rang. I opened it, and there she stood. Hazel. She looked disheveled, thin, and utterly desperate. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her hair unkempt. The polished, confident woman I had loved was gone, replaced by a shell of her former self. Daniel, she whispered, her voice hoarse, please, can I talk to you? I just looked at her, my face devoid of emotion. She launched into a rambling, tearful explanation. It was a mistake, Daniel. A terrible mistake. Ronald manipulated me. He pressured me. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so stressed with the wedding. I love you, Daniel. I always have. Please, please take me back. I have nowhere to go. I've lost everything. She tried to reach for my hand. I recoiled. Her words were hollow, manipulative. Her desperation wasn't for me, it was for the stability, the life, the future she had so carelessly thrown away. She wanted to return to my life, to my stability, because hers had imploded. Hazel, I said, my voice cold, clear, and steady. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. You showed me who you are at the altar. And I believe you. I paused, letting the words sink in. You made your choices. I made mine. My life is moving forward. Without you in it. You need to figure out your own messes. I'm not your solution. I closed the door gently, leaving her standing there on my porch. That was the last I ever saw of her. I was able to move forward and embrace a future free from betrayal, deceit, and the constant anxiety of an unstable relationship. I learned that sometimes, dodging a bullet can lead to a brighter future. The public humiliation, the viral video, the heartbreak, it all forged a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of myself. I'm thriving in my career, building a life I'm proud of, and surrounded by genuine friends and family. And the satisfaction of knowing that I not only survived, but flourished.